or whatever it can be. And so that was kind of my life. And then stepping out of it, taking that time to be like, and again, there were questions before that, but I just didn't have time to think about them. And even if I did, my environment's not pursuing that. So what am I going to do about it? You know what I mean? And then it's very awkward. And we didn't have necessarily a space where we could just chat about these things, which is another huge thing for me. It was like, we don't realize, but like in our circles at least, even in our church and stuff, there's just not much. You hear the message and it's amazing, but we didn't really have like small groups and stuff. We had community where we hung out with each other, but if you had to, I think everyone's just so busy trying to be this picture because we've seen it at church and that like if you had to ask certain questions, you just know that there's not going to be a conversation around it. It's going to be like, oh, you're lacking faith. And I experience this a lot, even comes to things with sickness and people and everything. It's like if you take medication or if you're lacking faith, if you don't pray for healing, you're lacking faith. It's like all these things. And so you really are in an environment where like you don't want to ask questions because it's just going to be bypassed, And I think my whole heart cry in all of this was like, I just want a space to chat. What's wrong with just chatting, And I know it's not everyone's experience, and I can get it deeper into it maybe if I think about it, but that's kind of the brief of it. You're in this environment where certain things are celebrated, certain things aren't, and you don't have time to ask these, and it's easier to join the bandwagon, and you've seen what's celebrated, you've seen what's put up there, you've seen what gets favor, inverted commas, and you want to be that, so you put everything of yourself aside to become that, and it's never you actually, and you fall short all the time, and you're left either just trying and trying and trying or not, and the crazy thing is like when I went away and came back, I went for like a year, I came back and like everyone was exactly the same, and now I've been out for like 2-3 years and I come back and it's like it's the same things being spoken about, it's the same challenges, it's the same stuff, which it's not bad, but like I feel like in my time I've just experienced so much different things, so many different things, and I've grown so much that it's so weird to like, you think you're missing out by not being a part of all of this, but you realize it's like a lot of it's just the same in different packages. Anyway, so that's kind of the environment, and so when I stepped away from it, I did start asking, why am I doing this stuff? Like, what am I chasing? And like, more importantly, like in our circles, there's events, there's things, there's prayer meetings, there's, who can, I don't know, read the Bible the longest, whatever it is, like, not quite like that, but there's just all these things, who's hungrier in a way, And it got me thinking, like, what about the person who can't? Like, where we're from, not everyone's, like, poverty is quite a thing, and so not everyone can make it to certain meetings. Not everyone's going to have the opportunity to go to a Bethel or a ministry school or Iris or whatever it is. Not everyone's going to have the opportunity to, if they be a missionary, the parents still support them. Like, there's people who can't even make it to church on a Sunday, let alone the events. There's single moms out there who are raising kids and can't give as much time as a young person who's working for the church, And I started asking these questions like, well, like practically if they can't, does that mean that they're less? Does that mean that they'll never be able to be this desperate, on fire Christian? Again, all of those words are in inverted commas because my reference of that is so different what that means now to what it was then. And then you have a clear picture, like a guy is laid down, he can worship for hours, he's like sold out, he'll give everything away if he needs, he'll move on a whim, like all these things, and often they are very nice people, and I was pushing to be that, and I was like trying to love people really well, but it can't sustain because it's not true life. And for some there's amazing people like that, like no doubt. It's just when you're trying to be that thing when it's not actually you. And the problem is that that's the picture that gets pushed. Like, if you want to be this is what you have to do. And I think that's even why I got into ministry a lot of the time, is because it's like, hey, I want to be passionate for Jesus. Okay, well, ministry then. Which we'll get into. But what I was saying is just like, what about the people that can't make that? What about the granny, the grandpa? Like, again, the single mom or single dad, or like the person who can't afford to get to these things, or the person who's just not that popular, can I say, or like not socially that good with people, or is a bit more awkward, or that no one really talks to, does that mean that that person's never going to be a sold out on fire Christian because they're not going to be doing these same things? And that was also a driving question for me. It was like, well, what? Because if there's a way to get to this place, then there's a hierarchy, because those who can get there will be better, and those who can't will be worse and lesser than. And that's kind of what, we don't say it in these circles, or we don't believe it, but a lot of what we do kind of points to that. And I saw it in my environment, like if we could those who showed up and were there and were, you know, good with people, they got the opportunities, they got the favor. The ones who didn't just kind of coasted along. And so I found myself just asking that question, like, what if